I used to scoff at women who said, "It just happened." Nothing just happens. You step over a line, then another, until the lines are behind you and you can't even see where you started. That's how I went on a girls' trip to Nashville, kissed a stranger, went upstairs, and came home to divorce papers, a custody schedule, and a version of myself I don't recognize. Evan and I were married 7 years. He's a logistics manager who loves routines and quiet jokes. I'm an event planner who thrives on chaos. We have a 5-year-old son, Oliver, who makes everything feel lighter just by walking into a room with his dinosaur backpack. Our marriage wasn't on fire. It was just dull in places I didn't want to admit. I'd complain that Evan never surprised me. He'd point out that I scheduled surprises 3 months in advance. We were fine until I decided fine was failure. Bree and Kelsey, my 2 closest friends, pitched a weekend away. Rooftops. Live music. Cute dresses. I told Evan I needed a reset and promised to text. He hugged me and said, "Have fun, be safe." I heard trust and treated it like permission. The first night, we ate hot chicken and ended up at a rooftop bar where a singer had a voice that made everybody stop talking. Bree ordered tequila like she was placing bets. A bachelor party wandered over. One guy, Austin, was all easy grin and lean in attention. I let the attention warm me like a space heater. I danced. I laughed. I told myself flirting was harmless because I was flying home Monday and would never see him again. After last call, the group drifted to the hotel lounge. "One drink," I said. One drink turned into shots. A joke turned into my hand on Austin's arm. He kissed me like he assumed I'd kiss back. I did. He asked if I wanted to come upstairs. I didn't say yes. I also didn't say no. I followed him into the elevator while Bree squeezed my hand and Kelsey said, "I'm heading back." In the morning I took a long shower and promised myself it was a one-time mistake. That night I did it again. I didn't know that 2 weeks before the trip, Evan hired a private investigator. He never checked my phone, but he isn't blind. I'd started sleeping with my screen face down, inventing late client nights, and buying lingerie I somehow never wore at home. He told the PI, a woman named Carla, that he hoped she'd take his money and find nothing. Instead, she took photos. Me on the rooftop with Austin, me laughing in the hotel lounge, me entering the elevator at 1:37 a.m. and leaving the same floor at 7:12 a.m. When I got home, Evan was normal. Too normal. He kissed my forehead, made pancakes with Oliver, asked if I had fun, and told me he'd be out Monday afternoon for a meeting. On Monday at 2, a process server walked into my office with a packet. Petition for divorce, request for temporary orders, proposed parenting plan. Carla's report was stapled behind it like a manual for the worst thing I've done. The last page was a hotel receipt with a timestamp that matched the photos. I drove home shaking, hoping we could talk before lawyers made it permanent. Evan sat at the table with 2 calendars. He didn't raise his voice. He said, "I'm asking for primary custody during the school week. Alternating weekends. You'll have him 3 nights and every other weekend. I'll never cut you out of his life. I won't let him live in chaos." I begged for counseling. I said it was a mistake. I promised it would never happen again. He rubbed his eyes, took a long breath, and said, "I believed everything you told me until I couldn't. I'm not going to argue facts. Court is slower than you think and somehow hits like a truck." My lawyer explained discovery. Bank statements, hotel charges, text messages. I had to hand over my phone. Those flirty, "This city is trouble" messages became Exhibit C and D with my name floating at the top. Bree and Kelsey were subpoenaed. Bree cried and said she didn't want to be involved. Kelsey told the truth. She warned me. She left me at the elevator. She never agreed to lie. At the temporary orders hearing, Evan's lawyer sounded like he narrates this for a living. He showed the photos, pointed to the dates, and explained how Evan handled drop-offs, doctor visits, and school emails. My lawyer said infidelity doesn't make you a bad mom. She said I'd made one horrible choice on one weekend. The judge didn't scold me. She said, custody is about credibility, stability, and time. Right now he has 2 out of 3. She kept most of Evan's proposed schedule and added a parenting class for both of us. The fallout burned everywhere else. My mom didn't yell. She cried in the kitchen and asked, "Why didn't you tell me you were lonely?" My sister said, "You always reach for the shiny thing." Evan's parents went from Sunday dinners to neutral texts about pickups and drop-offs. At preschool, Oliver's teacher pulled me aside and said he'd been clingier at morning goodbyes. I nodded and told her we were adjusting. The truth is he's fine with Evan. He struggles more with me because I try to make every night special, and 5-year-olds don't need special. They need the same. Carla's report was clinical. No opinions, no insults. Subject arrived. Subject embraced mail. Subject exited elevator. Somehow that was worse than judgment. I pictured Evan reading it at the kitchen table the way he reads instructions before he builds Oliver's toys. Slowly, to make sure nothing is missing. I hate that image and I put it there. I tried to apologize in every way I knew. I wrote a letter. I offered the house if he'd let Oliver stay in one place. He said it wasn't punishment, it was routine. He gave me more time than the judge did. 3 weeknights and alternating weekends. The first week, I set the table for 3 out of habit and put the extra plate back. The second week I planned adventure nights, and realized I was exhausting both of us. Oliver doesn't need fireworks. He needs dinner at 6 and bedtime at 8, and the same story twice because he likes the silly voice I do for the turtle. Work got weird. No one said affair, but the air changed. My boss reassigned a wedding because the groom works with Evan, and she didn't want overlap. Bree and I don't speak anymore. Kelsey texts podcast links about co-parenting and leaves it there. My therapist says I confuse attention with love and urgency with meaning. If that sounds like a fortune cookie, it didn't in the room. It sounded like the last 10 years. The final hearing is in 8 weeks. My lawyer says we'll probably land near the temporary plan. I'll pay child support. Either Evan refinances the house or we sell. My retirement will get split and still feel smaller than it did before. None of that surprises me. What surprises me is how ordinary it becomes. You sign your name 12 times and realize paperwork can end a family without a single raised voice. Sometimes Evan stays on the porch when he drops Oliver off. He asks about the cough, about the new allergy med, about whether bedtime is still 8. He is never cruel. He is careful. I want to say I'm grateful he didn't scorched earth me online, or shut me out of our son's life. But grateful is a strange word when I lit the match. When I think about Nashville now, I don't see the skyline. I see a hallway camera somewhere that probably caught me stepping out of an elevator with my hair a mess, and my choice is worse. I see Carla pretending to scroll while she watched me trade a marriage for a handful of attention. I see Evan making pancakes for Oliver that Sunday morning while I posted a photo of latte art and wrote self-care, like a joke only I understood. Here's what I didn't expect. I'm not mad at him for hiring a PI. I'm mad at myself for making it necessary. I thought privacy proved trust. It turns out trust is a gift you either honor or spend. I spent all of his and then kept swiping like there was a secret balance. I don't have a neat ending for you. I have a color-coded calendar, and a kid who knows dad's house has the big dinosaur and mom's house has the string lights, and both houses love him enough to keep the schedule. I have a lawyer I pay every month and a bank account that reminds me choices cost money. I have the memory of a trip I used to call self-care, and now call what it was. The weekend I taught a judge who should raise our son most of the time. People ask what I'd do differently. The obvious answer is not cheat. But the real answer is smaller and harder. I would have told Evan I was lonely before I bought the plane ticket. I would have asked him to try counseling before I asked tequila to fix me. I would have remembered that fine is not failure. It's a place you can build from if you stop trying to feel 23 every time life gets quiet. Evan will be okay. He already is. He still wears his faded college hoodie, still reads 3 books at once, still laughs like he's surprised by the joke. He will find someone who doesn't treat his steadiness like a dare. I am working on being that person for myself first, because I have to be steady before I can be anything else for Oliver. If you need a moral, it's not about PIs or courts. It's this: the biggest consequences in my life didn't come from screaming fights or dramatic exits. They came from simple paperwork, steady boundaries, and a man who refused to perform rage when the truth was enough. He hired a PI. I cheated. A judge believed the paperwork. That's the whole story, and I have to live with it. One pickup, one drop-off, one quiet night at a time.